What's going on? Matt Savoca here from Awesemo.com, bringing you the divisional round Sunday Night Football FanDuel Contenders video. This is the best matchup of the weekend. This is the game, as a fan of football, I have been most looking forward to all season. The heavyweight title bout of the AFC. Yeah, it happens in the divisional round. So be it. I want to see Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead in January. We get it right here tonight. I'm so stoked for this game. Before we get into this though, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel so that you always know when we're going live. You guys know what to do. And if you could give me, Matt Savoca, a follow on Twitter at Draftaholic, that would be much appreciated as well. We're also presented today by FanUp. FanUp has a Flexball NFL playoff contest featuring a $200,000 first prize. That sounds pretty darn good to me, and you get to pick a new team each week of the playoffs. I like that part as well. You can also win weekly prizes like authenticated NFL jerseys from Fanatics, and when you sign up using the promo code Awesemo, you can see that ad on the bottom of the screen there, you can get 2,000 bonus points, the equivalent of $20. No deposit required. That's fantastic. You also get $25 off for every 3 entries you make into that Flexball playoff contest. So get signed up at FanUp today. Okay guys, on the screen here, you see my 10 through 6 for this FanDuel single game slate. Again, I am just so excited here, and you're gonna need some auxiliary weapons because the star power at the top is so exciting, and you definitely want some. So Byron Pringle at 18% and Gabriel Davis at 18% are our first options here. Gabriel Davis is still sharing that deep ball option in the Buffalo Bills offense with veteran Emmanuel Sanders, and we saw Sanders get into the end zone last week, but Davis, obviously as a second-year player, has a lot more spring in his step, if you will. I think he has a little bit more of a ceiling than Byron Pringle, but both could go off here. Mecole Hardman hasn't been getting quite as much usage here as Pringle of late, but when he's on the field, he tends to be used. He's in the optimal lineup 20% of the time. That is a solid trio to pick one of. I'm probably not playing 2 of those players unless I'm talking the largest of large field tournaments. Then it's Tyler Bass. Yeah, you can play kickers on teams that have high implied totals. Remember, the Buffalo Bills might be suggested that they will lose this game based on the spread, but they have the 3rd highest implied team total of any team in this weekend slate here. So you can play kickers on that team, even though they are technically an underdog. And then at number 6, with a 27% chance of being in the optimal lineup, it's Devin Singletary, running back for the Buffalo Bills, continues to get used like a bell cow down the stretch of this season. 16 carries last week and another 4 targets. In fact, he's had 18 or more opportunities in 4 straight games, and in 2 of those 4 games, he's had over 20 opportunities. The floor is high because of the volume, and the ceiling is there too. Almost a 10% chance of scoring 25 fantasy points. You know the Bills are a pass-first team, but still, when you've got a player in the backfield getting enough touches, Singletary gets there a good amount of the time. His median projection is really what I like. Again, he's in the optimal lineup 27% of the time and comes in at number 6. He doesn't quite crack the top 5 though. Who does? Let's watch and find out. At number 5, it's Harrison Butker. Harrison Butker is a kicker for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are at home. The Chiefs are projected to score a lot of points. The Chiefs are projected to win. You can play kickers on teams that are at home, projected to score a lot of points and projected to win. They are not a ceiling play. They are a floor play. They are built for cash games in small field and making sure that you don't get zeros when you're playing a 9,500 salary player. I don't think that this is going to be a defensive slog. I don't think this is going to be a game where a kicker is going to be in the optimal MVP slot, but still in 5.8% of the simulations, sure enough, that's what happens for Harrison Butker. I'm keeping it to the flex position. I'm probably going to be a little bit under the field here, but in a 1/3 of our simulations, Harrison Butker is in the optimal lineup. At number 4, it's Stefon Diggs, wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills, and they are going to need a ceiling game out of Stefon Diggs here, or at least a better game than last week. He turned 3 receptions into 60 yards. That's fine, but just 4 targets for Stefon Diggs. I know you're absolutely cruising. I know you're crushing the New England Patriots, so save your playbook for this game here, but you gotta get Diggs more involved. I think they do. I think they're gonna get him involved early and often in this first half against the Chiefs here because they need Diggs. Diggs has had a great season, not quite the same numbers as in 2020, but still we're talking a top 10 wide receiver in fantasy points per game, number 2 in red zone targets, number 7 in routes run. This is a top tier option who arguably has a better matchup against the Kansas City secondary than either Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill do against the Buffalo secondary here. So in 25% of our simulations, he's scoring 25 or more fantasy points. That's a little bullish. I think that's a little high, but still, that shows you the type of ceiling he can get. 14 to 20 points is extremely realistic here. He's got to get in the end zone, but I really think that's a high probability here. He's the optimal MVP 9% of the time, and 25% of the time, he is an optimal flex play, a solid 34% optimal lineup percentage for Stefon Diggs. At number 3, I love when the optimal lineup percentages do this. Look how close it is between Tyreek Hill, number 3, and Stefon Diggs, we just mentioned, at number 4. Nearly identical median projections at 14.9 for Tyreek Hill, a little bit higher, and he's got a 29% chance of scoring 25 fantasy points. Again, a little bit higher. Our team of projection makers here at Awesemo.com tends to really like the ceiling scores of Patrick Mahomes-led offenses, even though Josh Allen has been nothing short of spectacular over the last month here. Tyreek Hill, even against a tough Buffalo defense that ranks number 1 in the NFL in yards allowed per pass attempt and number 1 in points allowed per play and number 2 in schedule adjusted fantasy points allowed to wide receivers, we say defenses don't matter, at least for Tyreek Hill here. His heel sounds better, or seems better, I should say. He's flipping into the end zone on plays that get called back. He could have had a monster performance in the wild card round because of plays that got called back. I think he once again has a huge game here despite the tough matchup. He's in the optimal lineup 35% of the time. At number 2, quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Now, some might say that he had a down season this year, and I guess that's true. He was all the way down at 5th in fantasy points per game. He was all the way down at 5th in total QBR. He was all the way down at number 1 among all quarterbacks in expected points added. He was also number 1 in player profiler's accuracy rating. Basically, the more advanced metrics you look at, the better Patrick Mahomes' season looks. So I think I'm going to go ahead and say he's the same old Patrick Mahomes here, and he's got a 62% chance of scoring over 25 fantasy points. That's what you really want here at that $17,000 salary. He doesn't get you that have to have it score. He's not really necessary, especially at that MVP slot, but I'm not surprised to see a 27% chance for him to be an optimal MVP here. He could have a monster game, but I'm going to prefer to play him at that flex spot, a 28% chance of getting there right now. I think the ceiling is as high as it's ever been for this team that has won 10 of its last 11 games. A little bit more balanced for the Kansas City Chiefs, but when push comes to shove and they need points, Mahomes is going to get them there. He is in the optimal lineup 56% of the time. Now, before I reveal my final play, my number 1 play on FanDuel for this Sunday night, just want to remind you guys to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel so that you always know when we're going live. You guys know what to do. And if you could give me Matt Savoca a follow on Twitter at Draftaholic, that would be much appreciated as well. Also want to give one more shout out to our presenting sponsor, FanUp. Use promo code Awesemo to get those 2,000 bonus points, no deposit required. Sign up today. Okay guys, let's reveal my number 1 play on FanDuel for this Sunday night. And at number 1, it's quarterback Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills. Definitely has an easier matchup here than Patrick Mahomes, and he has the same median and ceiling projection as Mahomes. So it's really a toss-up which of these players is going to have the bigger game here, and I do think the edge goes to Allen just based on the way he's been playing. I mean, last week was a complete statement game. 12 yards per attempt, 300 passing yards on just 25 attempts. Outrageous. Now add in 5 touchdown passes, add in 66 yards on the ground. In fact, he's run for 60 plus yards in 4 straight games now. just a fantasy monster. And in 63% of our simulations, you see him scoring 25 fantasy points. I think he is the quarterback I'm going to have more of, especially at that MVP slot. Of course, I'm fine playing him at the flex as well. He's the highest floor option on the entire slate. Josh Allen, man. He looks like he is coming into his own. I wonder if he's able to pull off the upset. They won earlier this season in week 3, I believe. Why not do it again here in the playoffs? Josh Allen in the optimal lineup 69% of the time. And that is gonna do it for the divisional round Sunday Night Football FanDuel Contenders video. If you're looking for the DraftKings version of this video, it's around here somewhere. Go ahead and look for it on the channel. We will be back with all the conference championship content you could possibly want. Until then, I'm Matt Savoca from Awesemo.com. We'll see you guys next time.